It was after 1 a.m. by the time Sophie arrived on stage to close out PC Music's South by Southwest showcase in March 2015, but you'd have been playing yourself if you left before her set. PC Music was one of the hottest topics of discussion in Austin that year, a mysterious, mischievous UK dance music collective that was either reinventing pop or destroying it, depending on whom you asked. Devoted ravers and curious passersby alike filed into the Empire Garage that Thursday night to see what SoundCloud jesters like A.G. Cook and Hannah Diamond sounded like in the flesh. Sophie wasn't an official member of the group, just a good friend, but she got the headlining slot. Anything else would have been absurd. The memory of the other sets melted away into the background as she overpowered the late-night audience with a stunning barrage of hard beats and elastic vocals. It was fun, it was loud, it was a little scary. Sophie was a star. Now, 6 years later, she has died far too soon at age 34. 2 months after the South by Southwest showcase, still thrilled by the memory of that night, I met Sophie at a bar in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, for her first ever in-person interview. She had an intense, focused gaze and spoke in laser-sharp sentences from across a battered wooden table in a side booth. PC Music founder A.G. Cook was there, too, striking a genial and chatty tone, but Sophie was less interested in putting a journalist at ease than in communicating her philosophy of art to the world. She pushed back on the then common idea that PC Music was a conceptual joke about fakeness. One thing that really interests me is that despite the way it's perceived by people as being something very synthetic and artificial, it's actually impossible to do something completely synthetic, she told me. You have got to have a real person. No matter how you've organized things, you always have to interact with the real world and real people. In the real world, truth is stranger than fiction. If you try to create a synthetic personality, it's always going to be flat and two-dimensional next to something real. Something real. That's the secret of early Sophie classics like Lemonade and Hard. As stylized and machine-like as they might seem on the surface, every sound on those tracks was constructed by a human being searching for a way to express their deepest self. An ecstatic craving for freedom is the engine for that faster-than-light motion. Sophie, who famously hotwired standard synthesizers to create her alien sounds from scratch, was an artist with as much soul as any acoustic singer-songwriter. Later in that same May 2015 interview, she put this with characteristic pithy intelligence. I think all pop music should be about who can make the loudest, brightest thing. That, to me, is an interesting challenge, musically and artistically, she said. And I think it's a very valid challenge, just as valid as who can be the most raw emotionally.